Hiya. This read is prompted on today because I found a new serendipitous deck card while I was away in Edinburgh. And that's the second time that I've gone to Edinburgh and found a card like on the path when I was walking. This one was on Colton Hill, I believe. But anyway, before I divine what meaning that card has, I felt the need to get another read out of the way. Yeah, so specifically this, what I've noticed is like there's this something trying to get your attention, and I don't mean in the way of synchronicities. I mean, really, if you have any question about a message that's trying to come through to you and you're not like fully able to clarify it yet, it is likely that there will be something that comes through in this read that is for you. But this is specific to seeing things out of the side of your eye, but in a way where it doesn't necessarily feel like how your angels or spirit team normally get in touch with you, right? This feels more like you're looking down, but then there's like stuff that's like just above out of your eye line where you can like see a face or like a doll or something that has a face, right? And then you look up and it's nothing that has a face, and like that has been happening. Or like you're walking, through somewhere and like your shirt gets caught on something, or like you're sitting still but somehow you feel your hair tickle your neck. Like there's something that's like poking at you or trying to get at you. And I'm kind of called to do it in a way of like, let's divide the read. We'll see how it goes from the very start though, but like it doesn't feel like it's a necessarily negative thing, but it feels just like something that wants your attention. And it really is up to you whether you give it to it or not, because there's a kind of energy about it that it feels a little bit like it's past energy that's just trying to get your attention again to like distract you from the breakthrough that you're currently moving through. Because there is spiritual breakthroughs occurring right now. We are coming to the end of an astrological year. There has been like massive shifts energetically within the collective. And that past energy is gonna want your attention a little bit. Kind of like, oh, you used to be giving me like a whole bunch of attention, and now you're not really giving me any attention anymore. And like, poke, get your neck, like whatever it is. So it's not necessarily harmful. It's more like it's being needy, but it's not being forceful. And then there's also the kind of thing of like, if you're tuned in spiritually and there's something that's doing that, like you want to usually know a deeper meaning about it. But I also gotta say that like I've gotten really good at, oh, a reading has popped up from a tarot reader that, or like an oracle reader or whatever, that I like generally trust and listen to. And it's not about whether or not I trust them because of this read. It's more like they start to go in and go, oh, someone's been thinking about you. I'm gone. I'm out of that read like a bullet, because like that's their problem. That is not the reader. That is the person who's thinking about me's problem. Until they get in touch with me, it's not my problem, or it's not my blessing, depending on how you're looking at it. But like, what is for you will find you. If you need to like hear about that, I don't blame you, because I went through a really long period of not hearing from somebody that like I really wanted to hear from, and so then those reads were like completely filling that hole for me. And it needed to be that way for the time period that it was in. But then it just went on long enough that I ended up being like, oh, not only like I'd rather not hear from somebody that's not like, want what wants you kind of thing, self-worth, etc. But like allow divine timing, trust, and the universe to bring to you what it is that is for you, and give the things that are in your life attention, the people that are in your life and actually are there for you and want to be a part of your life attention. And like immense amount of good things and growth have happened when that shift happened for me, but I would never make someone rush themselves out of it, um, or judge someone for being in it because I've been through it myself. So I'm grateful for that part of my journey. Anything that brings us more compassion is great. So, I think I would like to just ask for one card. This is the deck that was coming to mind when I thought about this read as well, which is like weirdly a really heavy deck. What the fuck? Just the weight in comparison to, I've never noticed that before. Um, Interesting. I I would like some clarity for the people who are aligned in finding this video, spirit team, in what it is they need to know about this thing that is trying to get their attention, and maybe that gives some clarity to our read here. So I'm going to shuffle 3 times and then go with the top of the deck. Just like, okay, so we have a King of Swords, but in the reverse. So it feels like, I mean, in the why I laughed is like swords are about communication, and particularly, oh my, well, that isn't that fucking interesting. Okay, so I lit this earlier and it has like its tags on the side still, which I was like, I can't really get them off because now they're in there, but they just like went alight. So that's something. Just for safety's sake. Okay. I think that it is something that is trying to distract you, or trying to, not even in a nefarious way, it just feels like it's not getting the attention from you that it used to, right? Like, it's unclear communication. It is something that knows exactly what it's doing. We have like a King of Swords, not like a page or even a knight or something. Like, a lot of these have to do with clarity, but a King of Swords is like very certain about what it is that they want to say, what they have to say, and we're getting it in reverse. And it's like, okay, so if there's a lack of certainty, or if there is maybe within a lack of, that's what it feels like. It feels like it wants you to second guess, like as if you're in a place now where you know yourself really well, and it's a new place, so it's also a place where you're feeling out new things, like you're having new relationships with your spirituality, with your spirit team, with like signs, with your intuition as well. Like, a lot of us are really deepening and kind of like renewing our relationship with our intuition. I mean, especially because it's coming into Pisces season, but really because we're starting to realize collectively, like, the only thing that you can trust 100%, not even is your mind, because I could say is you, but it's your intuition. And it is the divine, your higher self, God, whatever word kind of feels the most aligned in any given moment, speaking through you. And it also could be seen as like your star self, yourself before you were here, your future self. Thing is, all of these components, God, the universe, higher self, future self, they're all you, and they're all also simultaneously the entire universe, knowing something before it can be like communicated through it. If that is probably like wiggling because I have the window open and this is on a piece of metal or copper probably. Anyway, just so people don't get freaking seasick. So I think you're doing the right thing in noticing that this is trying to get your attention. And it may even have you feeling like it's the communication of what it is you're feeling coming in, because I know that you can feel we're on the precipice, a collective, especially a collective that this will find. It's like you're on a precipice of very 3 of Wands, like something is coming in, something's already here, and a veil has to be lifted. And like in March. Interesting. I mean, that feels like it's a kind of new year, new astrological year occurrence. Anyway, okay. Okay, so there's something coming in interesting. Because this has come up in like other reads, but I'm feeling it like it's actually already with you, beside you, right here. And it's more like you're stepping into a new skin. And it's the year of the snake as well. That's very interesting in Chinese zodiac. Um, but it's not about like releasing an old skin. It's about stepping into a new skin. You have released the old skin. Ooh, but it's really hard to let go of it. You've already stepped out of it though. It's like I'm seeing this shell that's behind you. And oh my god, that's what's trying to get your fucking attention. Ah, okay, this makes sense now. Thank you so much. um, yeah, it's not even like it's on you like a cloak. It actually isn't even touching you anymore. Like it feels more like this skin that is draped to the ground, like you've stepped out of a skin suit, like very beautifully disgusting, right? And it's like just you, I don't know. I'm seeing the Robbie Williams video now, from back in the day where he like strips, but then he eventually actually strips his skin off. That was only on MTV like after 9 p.m. or something, because it was like maybe after midnight, but it was, around the era of Celebrity Deathmatch and stuff. Um, and like there's this gore to it, but it's like the same thing as when you're watching Celebrity Deathmatch or you're watching this person strip their skin off and you don't feel any pain from it. It's like this has already shed, it has been left on the ground behind you, and you are now semi raw and like still in the process of stepping into maybe even feels like you're regrowing skin, but it's not about really even you doing much. It's more about, I'll come back to that, but it's more about it's waiting for you right ahead. St. Patrick's Day feels like a 17 came into my head. That's what I should say. All Snakes Day. And it's called All Snakes Day for the pagans. Okay, well that's beautiful. Because if you aren't aware, I feel like it's a pedestal or a box, soapbox, whatever, that I won't ever leave, because I was raised thinking that St. Patrick was someone to like revere or whatever, but he represents like Christianity and the erasure of paganism within Ireland. And say what you will about how, you know, religion can be used, etc. But if I also pair it with the fact that like this is stuff to do with colonization and a mindset of like looking at ways that you were and then having to assimilate to a new way out of fear of threat, and then making it seem like it's a good thing and a new thing, and like that's what you want to be going towards. That's what St. Patrick was used for. It was a manipulation tactic, like turning Saint Bridget into Saint Bridget rather than having her be the goddess that she had been. And now my incense is like getting a little bit too strong in here. Um, and it feels like just such a collective awakening around all of these ways of feeling and seeing these actions and manipulation tactics and narcissism and like actions of keeping others down so that someone else has and keeps and takes power. And like, we have collectively had it. I am so grateful to be here at this time. I saw this thing recently that was like too late to explore the earth, too early to explore the universe. But you're here in time to see a Windrose concert, which like anything about them is awesome. I really love that band. But it's like that's a really 3D way to look at it, because there is an immense amount of spiritual travel that goes on within our own selves and in the plane that we're in continuously as we step like onward into what we could be, what the species could be. So I think it's really important at this time as far as what it is that you can do, because a lot of becoming what it is that we feel and see, feel more so as far as like heaven on earth and creating something where there's inclusion, where there's love, where there's community, where there's space and support and like, ways that humans are supported in a way where it's like the understanding of, you understand where I'm going with that. That's another soapbox that I can get on. But everyone's heaven looks different, which is obviously why the internal work of knowing who you are is very important, because once you realize who you are and how important you are, you also can realize that every other person is valid and feeling that as well, and that's how many heavens are conceptualized at any given time on this planet. But if they're being conceptualized by a person who is like, one, in lack mindset, or two, basing it on material stuff, which kind of comes from a lack mindset, like where it's, I guess none of them are wrong, because it's just like where that person's at on their journey. But there's also a way of it being something that is aligning us collectively with what fulfills us in a holistic way, rather than satiating the needs that we've created out of building society through a lack mindset, if that makes sense. Okay, but so what you need to do is, in like a lot of having gotten, like, being in abundance mindset, and a spiritual journey and growth, and allowing all of this to also work in tandem within like your 3D life and spiritual existence, etc. It's a lot of allowing and getting rid, in a sense, of the things that have been put onto you, and understanding who that is underneath. But one thing that you must maintain, and keep in mind is, okay, the hope is the word that wanted to come out, but I also feel like the knowledge of what it could be, without hubris, but like, okay, I know what deck I want to pull next. It's like how you manifest for yourself. We are also collectively manifesting for the entire species. Oh my god, is the microphone gonna reach? Oh, come here, honey. And so, as you move through your day, consume different media, listen to people and work talk, etc., remember what it is that could be and is possible for our species, and not 100% believe in what it is that you see all around you, because that's happening and that's true, and we are treating each other like there is just no worthiness to human life, or there's just worthiness to some human lives, or whatever. That is currently happening, but that does not mean that it defines our future. It just doesn't. And especially because so much of all of the crap that has been going on behind the scenes for so long continues to come up so that it can be seen by the light of day. There's more of that to come. We're not near the end of that yet. There is still a lot more truths for us to realize, and more importantly, is not just to learn the truths, it's to believe them when we hear them and see them. And therefore then do something about it never happening again. And really, unless you're in a job or something that can put legislation in place that makes things like this change, a lot of this work is internal, and also stuff that you can do, stand up for, speak out about within your circle, within your friendships, within your family, within whatever way that shows up, right? And it's not always necessarily in a social justice way. It's like half the time more like staying accountable, being an example of accountability, and learning out loud and knowing that, oh my god, little burps. Yeah. That's kind of like the biggest work right now, and I feel as though you've been doing that. You know that already, because it is imperative to be doing that when you are doing shadow work, when you're doing, it's like massive self-awareness. And a lot of us came here almost annoyingly self-aware before we were even aware of what the fuck to do with that information. And it's beautiful that there's like such a, growth in the field of therapy and in inclusion and understanding people and stuff. But again, we're even kind of still at the beginning of that journey in and of itself, because it's not been something that's been going on for like a long time within our species. So what we're doing here, what you're doing right now, is like incredibly important for where we're going and also for where we're at right now, and also in comparison to where we've been as a species. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't control everyone else, but you can remember to always learn from history and not repeat it. Okay, so I saw one of the cards from this gateway light activation while I was speaking about that, and it feels like something in here wants to speak, because this channel message went like a whole other way than I thought it was gonna go. I thought there'd be a lot more cards pulled, but it's been purely channeled. So thank you for being here, and thank you for also being here, Spirit Team. Okay. Yeah, so can we have an oracle card? I get giddy during channeling sometimes, and it's like words come out wrong, and like it's like my favorite thing to do on the planet. Slightly. There's a lot of things that I love doing on this planet. And I haven't been in the space or energy to really do them. So this is a special moment. Thank you so much for being here. Ah, that's the card. Okay. It was actually at the bottom of the deck. So the one that I cut the deck to was the Holy Grail, which is inner discovery, finding sacredness, and you are what you seek. That's my little smug smile of like, okay, cool, listening clearly. I love this card. I love this card. It actually has something that prompted in, I'll maybe read the thing from the book, but I remember a drawing I did on the page for the book, which was like a flower, and it's almost like that staircase analogy where like you grow, but you're continuously going around the same pillar and looking at it from different angles, and like, anyway, so it's like the shape of a flower where there's like a center circle, and then there's like these shapes, and like you are what you seek. This centerpiece is like your truest self, right? Your highest good version of you, the purest you that you were before you manifest in human form, kind of a thing. And each of the lines that goes out and then comes back towards it again, that make a petal, that make a beautiful flower, is your journey away from yourself to then come back to yourself again and again and again. And you never come back to this center part the same. And none of the journeys are the same. Yeah, there's repeating patterns that you like learn through and learn from and stuff, but that's a part of it. That's not you making any kind of mistakes. That is a part of this journey. And as you're doing that, you're creating this beautiful flower. And so it wasn't for you to always, maybe it's for some people, but it's not for you to always stay in the center of the flower and never let it have any petals. Like, you're making this beautiful creation by being brave enough to venture into like things that are risky or uncharted or something that like you didn't, especially when you know you didn't know yourself the way that you do now, etc. Like, it could be seen in certain ways of like, oh, you did this and then like, or got in that relationship or made that decision and then it led to like all of this hardship you had to go through, etc. But there's another way of looking at that, and like, it is that you have created this like immensely beautiful dense piece of artwork that you get to like realize and see and know, and it exists within you and it creates who you are in this very moment. Oh my god, I really want to like, I just want to kiss you on the forehead, whoever you are. um because that in its own self is then creating the amazing beautiful tapestry woven artwork that is like all of us, that is our entire oneness and allness. So thank you so much for being here and going on those journeys. Oh yeah, I was going to read the cards because I find wording in these things sometimes can just really hit home with somebody. Okay, where's the imagery as well? Also, there's like a heart chakra and what is it? Sacral? Solar plexus, yellow. connection here. Other way. Heart is the green. And yellow. I guess there's also orange in there, so we have a bit of the sacral. But ooh, and there's purple. Okay, so third eye. Well, is it indigo or is it purple? Anyway, okay. You can see whatever you want. This cup is overflowing, so we also could see it as the kind of symbolism of the Ace of Cups, where a Holy Grail seems like it would be an end point, and something to move towards, but that's also a beginning, which is kind of the beauty of like, I mean, there's these circles that like overlap each other, which kind of remind me of an 8 or an infinity, which is like cyclical examples, but also the flower. And okay. The Holy Grail has been a mystery for thousands of years. Many believe that it was the cup that Jesus drank from at the Last Supper, or that was used to collect his blood at the crucifixion, while others believe that it was a person, possibly Mary Magdalene. It's also been described as a stone, a dish, and a cauldron. The energy of this card is strongly related to a physical space, which is the Chalice Well in Glastonbury, southwest England, a sacred garden where many can go to connect with the great goddess and discover the mysteries within. As a gateway, the Holy Grail is the cup of your heart, of our heart, which we can allow to be filled by source light so that we are overflowing with divine love. The energy that we call into the Holy Grail is the feminine energy of source, the Shekinah, the fierce yet graceful light that inspires us to dance to the sacred rhythm of life. This gateway therefore encourages us to stop searching outside of ourselves for truth and go within to realize that we have had everything we've been searching for the whole time. It's like inviting the divine in, but knowing that it was already there before we asked. Okay, your message with this card, and then I'll do the connection afterwards. You have been on a great quest, seeking, searching, discovering. But the further you've gone, the more your heart has called you back. You may still be looking for treasure, but you are now discovering that all roads lead back to you. The great source of creation holds up a shiny mirror for you in front of you, and you see your reflection. You are the answer. You are the divine. You are created. You are creating. The gateway of your divinity has opened, and the vessel of your being is flowing with infinite light. You have been searching for God, and God is within. So go within. This is the key to heaven. Your cup is overflowing. The gifts are being unlocked. Let the world share your treasure. Okay, so this is my little drawing of a flower. Each petal's outline is the journey we take away or outside of our inner self, our inner living divine light that lives, return, that lives return always back to center. Anyway, back to the self, which is the note that I wrote. But anyway, okay, so to connect then, I'm going to read this. Maybe I'll pull another card, but it feels pretty... Okay. Place your hands on your heart space. You can have your eyes open or closed for this. And say this simple prayer. Dear Source Light, thank you for filling the cup of my heart so I am overflowing with your love. Okay. I will mention this bottom of the deck card because it's the one that I had seen, but I'm not going to read it from it because I have had this card come up before. We've all spent a lot of time in here spiritually, whether we're visualizing it or not specifically. It kind of has like chariot and higher self energies, but these are the halls of Amenti. They are a place of initiation. They represent a place where secrets are revealed. Things that were below the surface come to light so they can be learned. Treasures are uncovered. So the abundances that are truly what you are aligned with and truly for you can come through clearer because you see yourself. You are so much more worthy than you've ever known before in this lifetime. And it's an initiation. Okay, and that's the imagery. So as with most reads, you're doing an amazing job. You always are, because you continue to be here. And that in its own self is a feat. But to also be continuing a spiritual quest, I like that word, but like spiritual growth, and to stay in touch with yourself and not to disengage, and don't take for granted the work and energy that takes all by itself. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that, and thank you very much for tuning in. I love you for being here. Bye.